When I get older, I'm gonna feel like I'm succeed in life because of Mr. Diaz.
All right, Dylan, come on in.
Aiton Elementary is a small school.
Oh, cool. Where'd you get this?
I never really thought of myself as a teacher, especially with all the negativity on the news that you hear about teachers, low salaries, a lot of teachers saying that they don't really enjoy their job.
So you guys made it to the third round of the spelling bee, right? That's pretty good, man.
But it has a big reputation of being low performing. That's why we spent the last month here, getting to know the students, the teachers.
I went to school for physical therapy. I was looking to be a physical therapist. I felt like that was my calling.
Mr. Diaz ended up leaving his physical therapy program after another student called him the N-word.
That experience was a turning point in my life. It allowed me to really focus on the things that I wanted to do, the things that made me happy, and my purpose and my why.
Oh, okay. Put your homework on your desk.
And that's honestly what brought me to teaching.
And now at 26 years old, Mr. Diaz is one of the most veteran teachers at Aiton Elementary.
And even though it's hard, do you just quit and give up?
No.
No.
I was named principal and I was coming here, it was just like nothing but bad things. Lowest scores, kids out of control, school out of control, parents always, fussing and fighting with the staff. And so I just heard that it was a really hard place, really rough, and that, some change needed to happen.
Say it, Matt.
Matt!
44% of the teachers turn over each year at Aiton. That's more than any other school in the district. Miss Golden has been here for 4 years, which is longer than most, because in DC, it's not just the teachers leaving, it's the principals too.
So when I got here, it was funny because it was a building engineer said to me, he said, no principal really lasts here. And he said the key is relationships.
Some of the students here deal with more than most adults can even fathom.
The creek and stuff, well, back there in my days, that creek was clear.
Ms. Whitmire sees it every day.
Kills me. It kills me. I mean, sometimes I'm praying 3 or 4 times a day. I might go to the bathroom, say I'm gonna take a bathroom break, and I'm in there, talking to my maker, because I see so much.
Okay.
So I went here from kindergarten to 6th grade.
With all the turnover,
Bye-bye.
she's the one constant. 34 years under her belt here at Aiton as a paraprofessional.
Sometimes this is like a safe haven for them. They get love. We have to wear so many hats. We have to be a nurse, a doctor, a lawyer.
Mr. Diaz, my birthday tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. What are we gonna do?
Skating ring.
Skating? I can come?
Yeah, if you want.
Okay, when?
On
Saturday?
This Saturday.
Okay, I'm gonna be there.
He's like an older brother or a dad. Because my dad is not around, so he's like a dad.
Does that mean a lot to you?
Uh-huh.
Raise your hand if you would like to get on Lexia.
Even though he's young, Mr. Diaz has a command over his classroom.
Let's get our morning meeting together.
His students, they're some of the highest performing in the school.
He teaches us our manners and many more things, how to read fluently. Now, most of the people in the class are past grade level. I'm on the 4th grade level.
Reading gonna help me in the future because I could go to college, I could get jobs, and a lot of people will look at me as he know how to read.
This was after his students were accepted into their college reading groups. College is a goal he wants to make sure they take with them even after his class.
They know that that's on the front of their mind because they know that not everyone goes to college, and it is a select few from who they see get to go to college, and they want to be a part of that select few.
Late last year, the DC Board of Education looked at teacher retention. The numbers are clear. Teachers are leaving. But what they can't answer is why. Well, those inside the schools, though, say there are many different reasons.
You have those outside pressures weighing on you. You have a school that is challenging. So it makes some people question, is education, you know, the right choice? Did I make the right choice?
But the teachers who stay, their reason why is simple.
You know, you can dodge bullets on your way to school. If you can come to school knowing that, you know, your mom is being abused at home, if you can come to school knowing that you haven't showered in a few days or you haven't even had a meal, and come here and still raise your hand and answer questions and still have your homework completed and still be ready and inspired to read, you know, that's my inspiration.
I'm in a school where I feel like children need to be loved. We need to give them the best possible opportunity here, and so I wouldn't trade that in. I would feel like a failure if I just abandoned them.
Those are some incredible champions for the kids at Aiton Elementary. We're going to go back to the school over the coming months to better understand why teachers are leaving and how to change that narrative. Listen to this. More than half the professionals teaching in D.C. schools leave after 5 years. Teachers say there aren't enough leadership opportunities, there's not enough support from administrators, and there's a tough evaluation system. The only way to get the real story on what's happening is to be there. Some of our team spent 4 months at Aiton Elementary in Ward 7, the school with the worst teacher turnover rate in the city.
I rise at 4 in the morning and I start my commute between 5:30 and 5:45. And this area is really White Plains, but not too many people know where White Plains is.
Mrs. Brumell teaches at Aiton Elementary School.
So it takes me like an hour and 15 minutes to get to work. Like if the conditions are what I'm facing right now.
On her drive in, she passes 2 school districts.
I think they need me more. I think I'm more valued there. And that's the reason I make the commute.
Aiton is a school with the highest teacher turnover rate in D.C.
I love my kids, really. And I want to be in a place where I'm making the most impact, positive impact on students' lives. You will actually see how you are going to score when you take that test.
That's why we spent the last 4 months here, to find out why so many teachers are leaving and why others choose to stay.
So we said impact can mean a few things. What were those things?
1 floor down is Mr. Diaz. He's 27 years old, one of the most veteran teachers at Aiton, but he's only been here 4 years.
The relationships I have with my students, it's nowhere near just in the classroom. In the classroom is simply where we do work. When we're outside of the classroom, you know, I'm a normal human being to them. I'm an uncle, a friend, a teacher, a doctor, whatever it might be for that situation, just because they need more than just education.
Next door to Mr. Diaz, that's Miss Battle.
Teaching's always been all I want to do, and it's always going to be what I want to do as far as I know. They start at home plate, they go first place, second place, third place, and then back to home plate, okay?
She's in her 2nd year teaching, straight out of college.
I need to stick around. I need to see what I can do in the school building because it's hard being a first-year teacher, and if you have a bunch of first-year teachers every year, we're not really moving in any direction for the school.
For the dedicated educators in the building, knowing Aiton has a 44% turnover rate is heartbreaking.
It brings me to the point that I want to cry because working with kids that are already at a deficit and a teacher walks out on them, I mean, we would have substitutes, but that's not going to cut it. It does not do the job.
Say it, Matt. Matt.
We're a small school, we don't have a large staff, so losing someone does affects like that trust in the relationship building, because then someone new has to come in and start that all over.
Mrs. Golden is the principal at Aiton. In her 4-year tenure, she's seen it go from a priority school to a 3-star school. And she's working hard to keep her teachers in the classroom.
Tamarius, Alexia.
Mr. Diaz, Ms. Bromell, and all the people who've been here, they tend to have stronger relationships because they've been able to, establish that trust with the students and build the relationships, and it kind of gives a sense of security and safeness for the students.
But the pressures from above are still there.
And we have a very rigorous evaluation system, and so the evaluation system determines whether people stay as well, and sometimes that's a lot.
That evaluation system is called Impact. It grades all DC teachers on performance. If you pass, you get to keep your job. But teachers leaving the classroom is not just an Aiton issue. It's a DC public schools issue. The district loses more than 50% of its teachers after 5 years. Teachers like Philip Copeland, who's across the city at Cesar Chavez Charter School.
I'm literally that stat line. I think the beginning of this year was the greatest I've ever felt to start of the year.
Still, halfway through this school year, Philip left too.
Still feel bad because you recognize the impact you have in the classroom and the relationships you build. These are people, you still oh, I miss these kids. That's the thing. The students never have been the issue, and they're always the greatest part of the job. It's just everything else piled on your shoulders. Because I think there's such a focus on, we gotta get these PARCC scores up. We gotta have math supplementation. We gotta have reading supplementation in there. Everything else gets pushed away.
And when success in the classroom meant sacrifice at home, he knew he had to step away. But he says it's not for good.
One thing that you hear as a black male educator is they need to see more black men in the classroom. They need you here, we need you here, they need more black men. But one thing you're reminded is my black son needs to see his black dad at home also.
5-7, got it.
Last year, the DC State Board of Education looked at teacher retention. We know schools are bleeding teachers. Now the focus is shifting on how to keep them. A teacher activist group, Empower Ed, is working with the DC State Board to figure that out.
The relationships with administrators and the culture in the school and the lack of leadership opportunities, those are two key levers that we're trying to pull to make sure we can retain teachers.
Scott Goldstein is the founder of Empower Ed and a former DCPS teacher who left the classroom for those reasons. DCPS does offer opportunities for teachers to collaborate and for leadership growth, but some critics say those programs only scratch the surface of what's really needed. Inside this building, as they push to fight against the odds, the teachers at Aiton know they have to protect what's at stake the most: the kids.
In the month of April is when people go seek transfers and all of that. And I always make that proud announcement to my principal: don't give me the slip, I will be back. So many people just come in and out of their lives and leave them, and I would always say to them, I'm not going no place. I am here to stay.
And I bet they're so glad she is. That is the incredible work of Marcella Robertson and digital editor Marcel Warfield. In a statement, DCPS tells us it will continue to empower its teachers and provide unique growth opportunities.
A lot of kids in the urban community, man, you push to be an adult at an early age. The responsibilities become heavy. Because sometimes school is their only safe haven.
Boyd Jackson knows without school, there aren't many options for his kids. His daughter Kanaya is at Aiton Elementary. Aiton is a school in Ward 7, a school with the highest teacher turnover in DC.
I could see it happening just being a part of Aiton for the years I've been. I've watched numerous principals leave for watching teachers constantly in and out.
That worries him because teachers leaving means kids don't have stability, and he knows where that leads.
Instead of you fueling the colleges, you'll be fueling the jails.
Dear Mr. Diaz,
Kanaya loves school though, and she loves her Mr. Diaz.
My daughter was just coming home and everything, Mr. Diaz said, Mr. Diaz said, Mr. Diaz said. You know, so I'm a dad. Like, you listen to him, you know, a lot more than you listen to me.
Spend 5 minutes inside Aiton, and you'll hear that name a lot.
Skating ring.
Skating ring? I can come?
Yeah, if you want.
Okay, when?
On
Saturday?
On this Saturday.
Okay, I'm gonna be there.
He's like an older brother or a dad. Cause my dad is not around, so he's like a dad.
Reading gonna help me in the future because I could go to college, I could get jobs, and a lot of people will look at me as he know how to read.
You know, so I said, well, I'm gonna go to school and I want to find out who this Mr. Diaz is. But when I started, the more I talked to him, the more I grew to like him. Kindergarten, first grade. Dad, I can't miss a day. I gotta go to school. I can't miss a day. Wake up Saturday morning. Dad, you going to school today? No school on Saturday. Girl, go back in there, go to sleep, watch class, so at least absurd. You know?
Dear Mr. Diaz, if you wasn't here, I don't know what I would do. I will have Kanai again. She will be in my 5th grade class. This will be my 3rd time teaching her. And I'm excited to see how much she's grown since 2nd grade. This is my 5th year back at Aiton Elementary School.
That's longer than most statistics say he should be here. Teachers leaving the classroom is not just an Aiton issue. It's a crisis all DC schools are facing. The district loses 50% of its teachers after 5 years.
I got to see the flip and the turnover of teachers constantly every year firsthand.
At 27, Mr. Diaz is one of the school's most veteran teachers.
I mean, it's helpful for a lot of them just because they're used to seeing new faces. So seeing the same faces over and over again each year is helpful for them during that first week, especially.
Last year, the DC State Board of Education looked at teacher retention. We know teachers are leaving. Now the focus is shifting on how to keep them. DCPS does offer leadership and growth opportunities, and leaders are now taking a hard look at what solutions to keep teachers in the classroom look like. All of the stats and numbers aside, though, it's the relationships the students need most. Relationships that can be life-changing.
When I found the note, I really appreciated it. That's the type of stuff that keeps me going each day. It's not, it's not the test scores. It's really those types of notes that really bring teachers back.
But whatever he was instilling at her then, it was helping drive her to want to go to school. And honestly, I just wish there was a lot of more Mr. Diaz's out here. You know, every school deserves them a Mr. Diaz.
Dear Mr. Diaz, if you wasn't here, I don't know what I would do. I wouldn't go to college, that's all I know. I hope you enjoy the rest of the school year, and I hope I see you next year.
The power of a teacher just takes one to change a life. DC Public Schools Chancellor Louis Farabee says he's committed to making changes to keep effective teachers in the classroom. We've got a lot more detail on that part of the story. It's just a few taps away on the WUSA9 app.